up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Winnie Harlow, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
No, I just said I'm like a sultry, raspy voice for a podcast.
Well, hello,
should we do a little
is Call Her Daddy. We're here.
little ASMR?
Yeah, a little
with Winnie Harlow.
vibing.
I'm sorry, but we have to get right into it. You just walked in here and I'm blinded by your hand. You just got engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me the story. I need to know like how he did it, how it happened. Tell me everything.
It's so funny because I'm telling the story, but like I was the last one to know about it.
Oh my God.
Everyone, like on my whole team was like, did you not realize that we've been avoiding you for the past 2 weeks? I was like, no, I was none the wiser. It was so cute. Kyle told me that he wanted to go to Turks for Valentine's Day. And I was like, that is so cute. It's like my favorite place other than Jamaica because I'm Jamaican. But we went. I got super sick.
Classic.
I got
so romantic.
Super sick. And I feel like everyone was like super scared. Like, is this going to ruin the trip? Kyle was like, don't worry. Once this goes down, she will forget she's completely sick. And rightfully so. He was so right. This whole trip was incredible. I got ready. I took a shower in the morning and he came into the bathroom and he was like, but you look good. And I was like, thank you. Because this is going to be a good trip. We're going to have a great time. He was like, yeah, we're going to have a great time. This is going to be a great trip.
My God. Because when I remember when I got engaged, I was similar to you where like everyone around me was like, knew every detail to the point where like my husband flew my friends out and my family out. Like everyone was there and
Isn't
I had
that
no
so beautiful?
It's so beautiful to know that, I don't know, I feel like when you become an adult, there's little moments where you actually feel like you get surprised in life and you actually are enjoying like people coming together and doing something special for you, because when you're an adult, it's like you're getting the niece and nephews or your kids the presents for the holiday. Like it's just not as magical in moments.
Sure.
And when you have the people in your life come together to like make this fun moment that's so grand, you're
I'm
like
always a part, like I'm sure you are a part of like the planning of everything. So it was like,
yes,
I can't believe you guys pulled this off, and not only pulled it off, but pulled it off as if I was a part of the planning. Everything was so perfect that I would have thought I was a part of.
But you're like, I would have picked that. I would have picked that.
Everything.
Wait, can you give us like how he actually physically did it? Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Lululemon. Daddy Gang, we all know that having a good workout fit makes the workout so much better. In my opinion, it is make or break. Okay, there is nothing worse than when you're trying to do squats in a pair of leggings that are slipping down, or even worse, they're see-through. Okay, this is why I'm so happy that I have the Lululemon Glow Up Tight. The fit, it's snug. I like it. It's above the hips, super stretchy through the legs. It's all working out and you feel secure and ready to crush a workout. So maybe you're hitting the gym. Maybe you're on a walk. Maybe you're on a walk with your dogs, aka me. The Glow Up Tight, it's sleek, it's smooth, and it's super comfortable. I have been wearing these tights literally everywhere. I have multiple pairs. I actually just wore this on a date night with Matt the other night. Threw on a little oversized sweater, felt gorgeous. When I look good, I feel good, and these tights give me that confidence. Don't hold back. Visit your local Lululemon store or shop online at lululemon.com to get your glow up tights. Can you give us like how he actually physically did it?
So we went, we were getting on the plane to go to the trip.
Okay.
And he opened the door and it was decorated to the nines. And I was like, this is so cute for Valentine's Day. Like, babe, like stop. I already like started watering up,
right?
But it was like, okay, stop, like get it together. He wants to read me a poem that he wrote. And so Kyle just got traded from the Wizards to Milwaukee. And we were joking, you know, he's like, I'm going off to work now, you know, I'll see you soon. Can't wait for you to come to Milwaukee. I was like, write me a love letter. My sergeant, send me a love letter. And it was just a joke, you know? But he took that and wrote me a love letter to propose. It was the cutest ever. I was like tearing up, crying. but crying just because it was so cute. I still had no idea.
So first you're like, he decks out this plane. You're on this gorgeous PJ.
Yes.
You're like, okay, my man is like really spoiling me.
Yes.
Then he's reading you a goddamn love letter. And you're like, I am so in love with you.
Yes.
Like already you're happy. You're ready to go.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm good.
This is going to be a great trip. Like, absolutely. This is going to be an amazing Valentine's Day.
But it's around Valentine's Day. So you're already just feeling
it's
like
the day before.
Okay, so it's like romantic. You're feeling the vibes. And then how does he pop the question?
So at the end of the poem, the way he wrote it, it was like as if he was going to say, will you be my Valentine? And it was, will you be my wife? And literally like just went into shock. I was already crying and just flooded with tears at that point. And he pulled out the box, got out on one knee, and I was like, yes. I don't even need to see it. I don't even need to see it. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, first of all, that is so fucking cute. And were you guys alone or was your family around you?
We were alone. So apparently he wanted to do it in Turks with the family and everything. And just last minute, he changed his mind and was like, guys, I'm doing it on the plane. And our moms were so mad. Like, tell him he has to do it here. He has to be here. We need to see it. How could he? And he was like, y'all, go enjoy the beach.
Right.
Have a good old time. Y'all are in Turks and Caicos. Have a great time. I'm doing it the way I want. And I love that he did that. It was so beautiful, so romantic. It was just him and I. And then, surprise, everyone was in Turks. I had no clue as well.
Oh, so you had no clue that you were about to land. So you thought you were going to have this like weekend getaway with your fiance and then you land and it's like your mom and everyone is there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so special.
My mom, my dad, my sister, his mom, like literally everyone was there. I screamed.
Okay, I am now convinced because I feel like we have a lot of overlapping in our engagement stories.
I'm
where,
hearing
like,
that too.
Okay, yeah. Because now I'm like really vibing with this and I'm like, if any man still watches Call Her Daddy or whatever woman is forcing you to watch the show, take notes because I think the concept of having an alone moment with your partner and having like the privacy and intimacy of an alone moment, like he made the right decision by you guys got to have that time alone, a couple hours on your own, and then once it sinks in, then you want to be with the people you love most. That is like the perfect combination.
Perfect.
Because then I'm sure like how I felt in that moment, I'd love to hear how you felt on the plane ride, was like Matt did it at our house. And it was so romantic. And I was in such shock that I kept being like, I've got to call my mom. I've got to call my mom and dad. And he was like, we'll call them in a minute. Let's have some champagne, babe. Like, and I was like, you're right. Okay, right. You're like, I need to tell my parents. And then I'm like, did you ask my parents? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, no. He's like, I promise they said yes. And like, I'm going through all of this. So he's trying to calm me down. So in hindsight, I'm like, poor Matt is like, bitch, they're already fucking waiting for you. Like, just enjoy the moment alone with me. But it then allowed me to like, have an intimate kiss, like hug each other, talk about it, ask him the detailed questions of how he came up with this and give him kind of like the credit he deserves.
100%.
And then let the family
Because like
involved.
how much pressure? Like it's so much pressure. I big them up, like incredible. He did such a good job. Funny enough, like even my nails, my nail tech is actually from LA and I used to live here. And I moved to DC with him and I've been like missing my nail tech because like,
oh my God.
I mean,
of course,
we love our nail techs. And he messaged me, my nail tech, to be like, hey, I have family in DC. My cousin's birthday is tomorrow. So I'm flying out there. Do you need your nails and like lashes done? I was like, oh, babe, guess what? Loy is coming out here.
Just a coincidence.
Such an amazing coincidence. You know, I've been missing him. And he was like, that's insane. Why is he out here? I was like, apparently he has family. I don't know.
And Kyle actually set the whole thing up? No. Okay. That's actually, I'm going to hype your man up for a second.
Yeah, babe.
That is next level shit to be like, I'm going to think about my girl's nails to the point where I am going to fly out her nail tech, the trusted person that does her nails, so she feels so gorgeous. Okay, Kyle, well, now you're just like making everyone look bad.
Nuts.
Holy shit, that's so nice. So then you look down, you're like,
okay, so I'm in the car on the way to the plane And he was like, you were so annoying in the car. It was hilarious. I just kept looking. So he gave me this bracelet for Valentine's Day. So I'm like, none the wiser. Like, I already got my Valentine's Day gift the day before. Like, we're on our way to our trip. And I'm like looking at my bracelet and my hands and my nails. And I'm like, babe, like the hand pics, like at the beach, like it's going to be so nice. In his head, he's like, yeah, it is.
It's like,
yeah,
you
it
even
is.
know.
You don't even know.
Okay, so I want to hear though about the ring, because I feel like this is just like such fun girl stuff that like some people grow up wanting it, some people don't, but when it happens, it's so beautiful and it's such a moment that you like can cherish forever. The ring is, it's so stunning.
Thank you.
There's not words, but can you tell us, like, did you talk about engagement? And if you did you give him ideas of what you wanted as a ring? Or is this like full surprise he did this on his own?
So we've been talking about engagement for the past year.
Okay.
But just like we started doing like marriage counseling and you know, just talking about our future and like how many kids we want, all that type of stuff. Like, where would you want to get married? Like, just communicating, you know, like I think it's so important to be able to learn good communication before you even take that step. And so, you know, I had sent him like some rings that I had been saving for years. Like, I look back on my phone and it's like 2015. I have like pictures of rings that like, now my idea of what I wanted to has evolved. But just the idea of it being like classic and fairy tale like was my, you know, thought process on it. And I feel like he executed incredibly. Like, this looks nothing like anything that I've ever shown him. But that was, I also try to make that very clear. Like, this is not, I'm showing you this because I want this ring. I want whatever you create, because he's also super creative.
Okay, that is like, I agree. I think, listen, there's going to be girls out there where it's like, for the love of God, do not let your man pick the ring if your life depends on it, because he can't even like put two of the same colored socks on in the morning. He's going to pick a horrible ring. And I love the girls that are like, so this is it.
Yeah.
It's on hold over there.
Yeah.
And then I do appreciate also like the other side of it where like you're saying like you had a vision lightly, but you let him run with it.
100%.
It's so stunning.
He took like 3 months to design and make it with the jeweler. And it was so funny, like him talking to me about it and like why he did different things. Like, he was like, I thought about doing like diamonds around it, but I thought it won't be comfortable for her to wear. And I was like hitting my leg. I was like, yeah, you're so right. Like, I don't even feel anything. You're so, like, all the other rings, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
I can like,
feel the same way.
Yeah, hurt
right?
somebody like shaking their hand or something. It's so like well thought out.
The attention to detail.
Exactly.
And then for the rest of the weekend in Turks, like what would you say with your family and your friends and now your fiance? Like, what was your favorite moment of the like weekend proposal moments?
Like after the proposal?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
you're like
that.
that.
Is my favorite
but
part.
then once you got there with your family,
I think the surprise that everyone was there.
did you sob?
Sob. I fell to my knees.
Wait,
like,
when did you know they were there?
we arrived and he was just showing me like it was all decorated and like we had flowers and pictures pinned up of us over the years. It was so beautiful. And we walked out to like the backyard area and the DJ just dropped music and everyone was like, surprise. It was incredible.
Those moments where you're like, no, I thought that this was enough. And now this, like, you've got to be kidding me.
And more and more and more. I couldn't, like, each moment was such a surprise. And I was so happy that, like, I'm not that type of person who wants to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy I was, like, none the wiser to anything.
It's so beautiful. And I love engagement stories. But I want to rewind because from what I've read, Kyle had to shoot his shot twice with you. Like, you would, at one point, you wouldn't even give this man the time of day. I'm like, this is so lovely. I'm like, Winnie, this is pure love.
Well, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, you basically ghosted this fucking man. What happened? What was going on?
No, so I met him, I actually originally met him at Fashion Week.
Okay.
Briefly. I was entering a party and he was leaving the party.
Okay.
And it was these like, I think like 2 or 3 tall guys who were leaving a fashion party. It was like Harper's Bazaar icons or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, so where's the after party? And I didn't really look at them. So I was like, I don't know. And I looked, I was like, oh, they're tall. Oh, he's kind of cute. But whatever, you know, like we're walking to the party and I turned back and I was like, DM me. Because like he must know who I am if he's like, you know, trying to see where I'm going.
Right.
So I was like, oh, DM me. And then I guess he DM'd me, but I never seen it. You know how like Instagram's kind of like tricky, like they'll put it into like another.
Yeah,
like,
you got to work for that shit.
So I just didn't see it. And
do you know what he said?
I don't actually.
Okay, we need to fucking like scroll back up at some point. Back. Yeah.
I don't remember what he said, but a year later during the pandemic, I was living in New York and he lived in LA. He was playing for the Lakers. And I just signed to Puma as an ambassador, and he was signed to Puma at the time. So he posted me to say congratulations on like me getting my Puma, like welcome to the Puma family.
Like on his story?
On his story.
Oh my, that's kind of like flirty.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, cute, but I didn't see it as well.
Winnie, you're like, I am never on my phone, or I just was not meant for a little bit to see this man.
You know what? It makes it even sweeter because it's like, it was meant to be.
Truly.
It was meant to be.
Swerving this man left and right, and finally.
Not on purpose. Not on purpose. But when I saw it, it was 24 hours after, and you know what? The story is gone.
Oh, it just is mentioned, and you're like,
what was that? I was sick. I was like, I don't even know what he posted. Like, was it cute? Like, what?
Right, like this man that I don't really know, like he just posted me on his fucking story, and it's not like,
cute.
and it's not like this is not something that's going to be seen by people. You both have followings where it's like, what is this man?
What was that? Right.
Okay.
So I DM'd him and I was like, hey, what was that? And he was like, oh, I was just congratulating you on like your Puma deal. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sweet.
And obviously in the pandemic, we have nothing to do. So I was like, cool. Like, so what have you been up to in the pandemic? You know, whatever, small talk. And we were messaging back and forth for a bit, but it was like I would message and then like 5 hours would pass and I wouldn't realize that he responded. And then I would see it. And it was just like 3 days of like small talk.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not really super good at DMs. Like, here's my number. Text me. And yeah, then we texted for like a few days and then he started FaceTiming me and he was like super sweet. He would like have an interview to do, you know, like everybody was doing that whole like Zoom interview stuff.
Yes.
And he had an interview to do. He was like, hey, I have like some work to do. I'll call you back in an hour. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, you're gonna call me back in an hour. An hour. Literally called me back. And I was like, a man of his word.
We love this.
We love this.
Wow. And so it just naturally progressed. That's like, girl, we have like this, we're so in simpatico with this. I'm like, I met my man like literally online on Zoom.
When did you meet him?
FaceTime. So we had like a random meeting that my agent was having me meet like with like TV and movie producers just to see if like I would ever want to do something in that space. And he was like my last Zoom of the day. And I always joke to him because I had these like men that were like fucking 60.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with you.
Yeah.
But they were like 60 and I'm like in my hoodie, I'm like looking not that cute. And then the last Zoom of the day he was late. So I like Googled him and I was like, wait, he's fucking young and hot. What the hell? I'm like putting my fucking lip liner, I'm overlining my lips, I'm pushing my tits up. I get on the Zoom, I'm like, hello.
Hey.
And he was just so cute and charming, but also like not overly like, oh my God, I want to be in business with the Call Her Daddy girl. So I kind of loved it that he wasn't giving me too much of the time of day.
Right.
And then we ended up talking and then I flew to LA and met him. And
when was this?
this was in 2020. You lived in New York, right?
Yeah.
And Kyle lived in LA.
Yeah.
I lived in New York and Matt lived in LA and we met in the pandemic online.
My days.
No, and then
What is this synergy?
No, it's weird. I'm telling you. That's
nuts.
why I was so excited to talk to you today because then seeing your engagement, I was like, girl, we have too much in common right now.
Crazy.
Can I ask you though, like when you started to talk to Kyle, were you looking for a relationship? Like when was your last relationship prior to him?
Probably like 2 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't looking for a relationship, but like I think it was just I like to like talk to someone who's serious.
Yep.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I do have that in mind. Like I did have that in mind when I was like, you know, talking to people, but it was just, you know, friendly conversation at first and like good conversation then too, which was beautiful. And it was a pandemic, so we had so much time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was such a blessing as well.
Were you at all like, you're an athlete, I don't know about athletes. Like, were you at all nervous? Because I feel like some girls are like, you go in and you're like, oh, here we go again. And he seems, obviously he's amazing, but like, did you have any preconceived notions?
I feel like I did, like, once upon a time when I was like in my early 20s, like I would never date an athlete, like too much. But when it did happen, it was kind of like not really a thought. It was like, cool, you know what? Like, it's good conversation. And even if we just become friends, like, that's cool too, you know?
It's cute.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the pros and cons of being in a long distance relationship at first, because I have so many women write into me being like, what do I do? And like, what was your experience with it? Did you ever get annoyed? Was it good because it was COVID that you were like fine with it?
Yeah. I mean, I think because I didn't know him, it was cool, but we talked for like a month straight. And it got to the point where like we were like falling asleep on the phone and like waking up on the phone. And I remember the first time I like was like, okay, cool. We went on FaceTime for a minute. Like I need to take off my makeup. Like
that is like a big
went and put
moment.
my phone down. I was like washing my face and he was just right there on the phone. I was like, listen,
I love
it's too much. Like I'm in my house. I can't go nowhere. Like I need to unglam. And from then we would just be like on the phone nonstop. And I feel like we talked for a month straight.
Okay.
And then he was like, you got to come to LA.
Yeah.
So we were long distance getting to know each other, but that was cool. And then I went to LA not knowing when I was coming back because it's also, again, a pandemic. So there's nothing for us to do. And it was kind of like, I would say like he's like Superman. He rescued me from the pandemic because I was by myself.
So did you end up moving in the pandemic?
I did.
Okay, so
But you know what? The thing is,
we both gave up.
I always wanted to live in LA.
Interesting.
So right before the pandemic, I was already looking at houses.
Oh, okay. So that was in your future.
Yeah, it wasn't my future, but it got like cut because the pandemic hit. I had to go back home. And then it was kind of like, what do I do? Do I like go home to Toronto and stay with my family? Do I like stay here?
Okay, you need to talk to me though about the weird part of social media is, yes, you saw this man one time coming out of a club quickly and like barely, you just notice his height. You're not like really focused on him. You meet him in person basically for the first time. And even though you guys have been talking, like, were you nervous at all? Like physically?
So nervous.
Like you've never
like,
like
I was
kissed
shitting
this
bricks.
man.
Literally. Like my stomach hurts when I get nervous. I was like actually literally shitting bricks. Like I was so nervous. And then he came out to like help with my luggage and stuff and he had no shirt on. It was like hot in LA and I was like, I'm already nervous.
No.
Like, please. Oh my days.
Like, please. Because you're like, I thought a lot about that of like, when you're telling this story, I'm like, as much as you're sharing, which is a weird, beautiful thing, I do think when people give people shit of like, meeting online and I wish I met them romantically in a bar and whatever. It's like there is something so gorgeous I felt with my husband of we did the same thing where we're like FaceTiming every single, we're like COVID couples where it's like you're FaceTiming every night, you're talking. We were getting so much deeper than maybe we would have been if we were just like out for drinks in LA and having like 1 hour dinners.
And everything happens for a reason too.
Right? But then you're like, now let's see if we physically connect. And I like, you had the feeling.
Yeah.
But still, do you remember the first time that you were like, oh my God, okay, like we're going to like kiss and make out? Like, was it immediate or did you guys wait to like physically connect?
It was immediate. It was definitely immediate. But I feel like I remember we would like play like 21 questions and stuff, like get to know each other on the phone. And then it felt like we were running out of questions, like how long we were staying on the phone. So I started like ordering games that were like 21 questions for like new questions, which was so much fun too. Cause I was like, I would have never thought about this.
Right.
But we felt like we knew each other so well by that point. Like we literally were on the phone like 12 hours straight, like every day,
so
no
cute.
hang-ups. We would like watch movies and like be like, okay, on the count of 3, press play. 1, 2, 3. Is it aligned? Perfect. Okay, cool.
That is adorable. Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Airbnb. Daddy Gang, I am planning a girls trip currently, and I am so excited because we just booked the perfect Airbnb. I wanted to find a home with 1, a fireplace, 2, a hot tub to just make sure we have the cozy vibes. And then I also wanted it to be dog friendly so that Henry and Bruce obviously can come along and hang out with the girls. I personally love getting a house for girls trips because there is obviously it gives you more space to just stretch out and relax, but also then everyone can have their own beds. And also I want to correct everyone except for me and Lauren, because Lauren and I will always be sleeping in the same bed, slumber party vibes. But having a home for a girls trip means that we can cook dinner all together, and then at night we can stay up late night chatting. It's just nice knowing that we have the whole space to ourselves and a little bit of privacy. I also love staying at Airbnb because when I go to weddings with friends, I've started to do this now. We just get an Airbnb and it means we can all hang out more. I remember I went to my friend Jackie's wedding and we all would come back to our Airbnb after the rehearsal dinner. We sat around, we were catching up for hours. We were literally up till like 3 a.m. And then the morning of Jackie's wedding was perfect because that meant we were able to all go downstairs, make our coffee and get ready together, which is 10 times better than just like being in a room by yourself. Weekends with my friends just go by obviously so fast now that we're adults. We don't get to see each other as much. So I never want to separate from them. For me, Airbnb is the best way to bring long distance friends together and maximize the time that we have. There are so many reasons I love Airbnb, so stay tuned to hear about all of the upcoming trips that I am planning for this year. What is your ideal night out? Like, tell me about your social life. Like, if you have your choice and you're going out somewhere, like, what are you doing? What are you eating? What's your vibe?
I like going to restaurants, but I feel like I'm such a like movie like inside, like let's like just be in like chill lounge clothes and like watch a movie and like vibe.
Do you drink?
Yeah.
What's your go-to drink? Cocktail? Wine? Yeah.
I'll like mix something if I'm just getting something on the menu. I love a lychee martini with extra lychees. I like a martini.
Love.
I like an espresso martini.
I like on my espresso martini rate. I'm
vibe.
like, it's so good.
I like sweet drinks.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do like a dirty martini as well. Oddly, like I love olives.
Okay. When you're drunk, are you the life of the party? Are you the person like Irish exiting, or are you the drunk crier? Or like, who are you in your friend group?
I'm like life of the party and like talker. Like I love to communicate. It's like all the inhibitions are down. It's like, I love you so much. Like you don't understand. Like
I feel like
you're the baddest. Like period.
I feel like I'd run into you in a bathroom at a party in LA and we would be doing this, but like more annoying. Be like, no, Winnie.
No, but you don't get it.
But you're so gorgeous. No, that's so girl coded. You're just like, shut up. And we're like,
shut up. No,
but
you
it's so
shut
fun.
up.
That's literally Matt is always like, what could you guys have been talking about? And I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
There's so much to discuss.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you get it. Okay, you're one of the most famous supermodels in the world. So I want to play a quick game just to like catch your vibe.
Let's do it.
I'm going to give you a crazy modeling scenario and you're going to tell me if you would book it or you would back out of the gig.
Okay.
Pose in a live snake pit.
How many snakes?
Oh, see me, I'd be like, don't even. So you're down.
Yeah.
What's the craziest like modeling thing you've done for like safety?
I'm not really scared of snakes. Like I did for Halloween one year. So a lot of fans would tell me that I remind them of Chitara. I don't know if you know that cartoon.
Yeah.
So I just leaned into it. I did it for Halloween, but I had like a whole jungle set up. So I got like snakes to come and like I was holding the snakes. There was this big, what's like the yellow snake?
Python?
It's a python, right?
Something?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was like, it's either a python or a boa constrictor. I don't know.
Something. But you did one of those big things.
I had the big like yellow Britney Spears snake. I had a few little ones.
Okay, so you're down for this shit. This is good to know.
Yeah. Anything for the shot, honestly. So
I respect it.
Yeah.
Would you do a shoot with an ex-boyfriend? As she looks down at her ring.
My man. Yeah, no. No. I feel like also everything is communication too. So like now if it was like a Dior campaign, I don't have any control and whatever. It's just like, babe, this is a situation, whatever. I feel like we're also very understanding too. And that's a part of our careers, you know? Like
point.
You may come across someone, whatever, as long as like we're aware, you know?
Yes, you're not being like shady and not talking about it. If it's like upfront and it's gonna really help your career, I agree.
For sure.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get your nipples pierced for the shoot.
I don't know. I actually always wanted my nipples pierced.
Okay.
But like the pain, like I feel like those are one of the piercings that don't heal very quickly.
I love girls that do it, but I could never do that.
Yeah.
I am such a little bitch with pain. I would be like, I couldn't. I just could never.
I love the aesthetic though.
Oh my God. Like a little like
So
white
cute.
t-shirt and you see, I'm like, girl,
Absolutely.
you're crushing.
Love the aesthetic.
I couldn't.
But I don't know. I feel like also, I mean, shoot, if I was doing it for the shoot, I could take it out and it would heal. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Okay, do a month-long shoot somewhere like in Antarctica or something crazy, but you have to be gone for a month.
Antarctica. Now, like, can we change it to like
Barbados?
Bahamas? Yeah, like, I would though. I would. Like,
You would go
if
for
there
a
was like a
month.
film that like I was like super into and I got the role, it'd be
Okay.
like, have to.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, you were once on America's Next Top Model. Can you describe your experience in 3 words?
I would say unique, surprising, and is this one word? Stepping stone?
Oh, that's good. No,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
word. Have you ever watched your season back?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago. Because it was like 10 years, like damn near a decade ago.
Since America's Next Top Model ended, obviously, so many people have come out and just been like, they didn't have the best experience. And some people were like, this was a traumatic experience for me. Like, what was your take in your experience?
I would say I love that every job that I've had in my career has led me to the point that I'm at now. And so I wouldn't change anything in my life in general because I'm so happy, and anything that could have changed would not have led me here.
It's a great point. No, I feel like that's like the weirdest part of life is like I look back at certain things. People always ask me about like my first job that I had or an experience that I had that like maybe even if it was like considered in people's mind like more negative in the public eye, like I feel like I have now grown so much where I actually can genuinely say I have perspective.
Right.
And when you're so close to something, you don't. And so even if in the moment you could say this is amazing or negative or whatever, then once you get like 10 years down the line, even 5 years down the line, you're like, whoa, I am so grateful for what that taught me.
Absolutely.
Because then like, what else are we going to do? Like whatever it is, like the energy then like festers in a capacity where like you don't grow.
It's the energy that you put into it as well, you know? And I feel like anything that happens, like I was 18 when I was on the show.
That's what I was going to say. You're 18, then you're done the show like 19. Like, did you ever struggle with confidence like as a whole as a teenager? Obviously going on that type of show, I think people think like these are the most beautiful women in the world, like oh my gosh, to be a model you must have such confidence. Like what were you going through?
I feel like you can have an off day any day. Like it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Like sometimes I might be breaking out or you know whatever the case is, and like I'm like okay cool, like this is a for now thing.
Yeah.
Like but you're still that girl, don't worry about it.
That's such a good point of like, I look back when I was in high school, let's say, compared to now, even using acne as an example, struggled with acne so much in high school and was like, this is the end of the world. Now when I'm like struggling with acne, I'm like, I don't care anymore. But again, I think that's fair to say because you're just at a different stage in your life where you know how to handle things better.
Yeah,
of like,
I think when you're younger too, you focus so much on other people's opinions, you know? And I think once I learned that and once I even acknowledged that a lot of my insecurities were coming from the opinions of other people, I was like, why do I actually care about what you think about me? Like, I care about what I think about me. And like, I care if I think I'm a good person, if I'm a beautiful person, all those things, that's what really matters. So I think that's like, when people ask me about like, how are you so confident? It's like, because I focus on my opinion of myself. And that's not to say like, if someone says something, it can't be hurtful.
Yeah.
But it's like the ability to let it roll off your back. Sometimes, you know, it's not nobody's perfect for sure, but the ability to let it roll off your back and let your own opinion stand foremost is That's the key, I feel.
Period. Can we talk about your early dating life? What was your first romantic relationship like?
My first ever
Yeah.
was in like elementary school.
Okay, but like your first yeah, no, fuck him.
No, like so cute.
It's adorable.
So adorable.
But the first one that you were like, oh, I'm like in love.
Yeah.
And this is like a real thing.
I feel like I don't see nobody. Like, I don't see nobody.
Really?
Yes, I don't see nobody. And also, I feel like being in such a serious relationship, it also allows you to like realize when you're so young and you feel like, oh my God, heartbreak, I'm so in love. Like, you don't even know what love is.
What has set your relationship up like with Kyle, like apart from the previous relationships you've had? Because I do want to say I agree with you that like in the moment, and it doesn't take away from anyone experiencing it right now, but like when you feel so like lost and why doesn't he do this or that, like you're not in the right relationship and it's so hard to see it. But then once you do find the right one, you're like,
if he
Alex,
wanted to, he would.
Like,
if he wanted to, he would.
And it's like, then you like almost laugh at yourself, but it takes finding the right example to then be like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
It's all an experience, you know,
Yeah,
like
that's a
it's
good
all a
point.
life experience. And it's also helping to teach you what you are looking for. Because unless you know, have experiences, you won't know.
Were you always, when you were dating, like very straight up, or were you ever a little like coy, playing games? Like,
I feel like I've always been straight up, but I've also always been like a little like nervous.
yes, that's
You know?
fair. What is the biggest red flag you've ever ignored?
Ooh. The biggest red flag I've ever ignored is my mom saying no.
Such a good one.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I don't see it. Like, fuck. Let me be. No, Mama, you right. You right.
It's so hard when you're in it, when your mom says that, because you're like, no, like you just don't get it. Like you don't understand him, Mom.
Like, girl, no, listen to your mom.
Yeah,
Listen to your mom.
so true. But like, it's so hard in that moment because you're trying to express your individuality. And a lot of times when we have our first young relationships, you're trying to separate yourself from when your parents were like, you're not allowed to go out or you're not allowed. So it's like, you're like, I want to make my own decisions independent of you. But then at some point you go back and you're like, wait, Mom, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, what are you talking? I've been telling you for a year, Alex. That man is a walking red flag. And I'm like, really? You said that? I don't remember that. No, that is so, What?
You said that?
That's so humbling when they just stare at you and you're like, it's over. And they're like, finally. And you're like, Mom. You and Kyle both have such intense careers. Can you talk about how you guys prioritize making time together? Because it's such a simple concept, but it is very hard when you have crazy schedules. Like, how do you make it work?
Communication. It's so like corny to say, but like it literally is that. Without communication, like how do you know where that person's going to be? Like, he's on my schedule, I'm on his schedule, but then also it's helpful that the NBA has a schedule that is, you know, there. Yeah. So I'll plan things like around his schedule sometimes, and then he'll check my schedule to be like, okay, cool. I actually see that I'm playing here and you're going to be there for work. So it's all communication.
And I think like I said that the other day, someone said something about like, how do, like with Matt, and I'm like, we communicate. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Like, it sounds so simple, but again, when I look back at previous partners that I had, it so isn't simple. Yeah. Because some people make it impossible.
Communication is hard.
Right?
Yeah.
And it sounds easy, but like everyone listening, you've been there.
It's the key. It's not easy though. It's definitely not easy. It's the key, but it's hard, especially getting to know someone. And then like people have their own feelings about different things, like, like their own traumas from the past, like so many different things. Like, everybody's so different.
But you know what I'm like thinking about when we're talking too, which is like the pros of how our relationship started with the men that we're with, is like Matt and I, and it seems like you and Kyle did this, where it was like the amount of conversations we had on FaceTime where we naturally wouldn't have probably been talking that long and extensively had we been in the same area, because it would be like, oh, our friends are all going to the dinner, or we're all going out tonight, and oh, we're going to sleep, or we're watching the movie. Like the amount of conversations we've had, it kind of just became this like prerequisite in our relationship that set us up for like we don't how to not communicate. Like
Right.
that is literally what we started our relationship off of. So
I think that's so
right?
much different though. Like I agree with that, but I think it's different when it becomes like you guys are together.
Yep.
And then also like he ended up getting traded to Washington, and so I was still in LA when he was in Washington at first, and like even like our lives change so much too, and so our communication has to evolve.
That's a good point.
And so like that is even a part of like why I wanted to go to marriage counseling, because I think it's better to create a good foundation than have to go and find a counselor when things are at a bad place, you know? Like I want to be able to have the tools to work through all the obstacles that are going to come in life. Like whatever relationship, whether it's with your parents, with your friends, there's always going to be obstacles in life, but being able to have those tools of how to navigate and even understand each other deeper.
Totally. Like,
you know?
You saying this also, Winnie, I appreciate, because I was talking about this with my friend. She had gone into couples therapy, and she was like, why do I feel this like weird shame around admitting that I'm in couples therapy? And I was like, but yet it's so normalized.
I love it. I say it to everyone.
Right?
I love it. I
You're
love
like,
it.
I'm in marriage counseling. Let's go. But
and I think it's also like that stigma too is why I like talking about it, because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hate that nobody talks about it because it's so necessary. Like you want to understand your partner. You want to be able to communicate with your partner. And sometimes it is difficult, but learning the tools is like the first step.
And I think you normalizing like you can be going to therapy to even better yourself. It's not always because something's wrong 100%. And in crisis mode. It's the same thing when you're in therapy for yourself. Like I've gotten to the point where when I'm talking to my therapist, I'm like, I don't really have much going on today, but like I'm happy. Like let's dive into like other stuff that like maybe I can work on that's not at the forefront of my brain. It's like we can always evolve. We can always get better. But when people think about couples therapy, they're like, what's wrong? And you're like, nothing. We're literally just trying to be as solid as we can be as we enter these next stages of life together.
For sure.
I love that conversation. Just like normalizing it.
Yeah.
So Daddy Gang, if you're going to couples therapy, don't let people fucking judge you.
Kudos to you.
Okay. Have you guys ever gone through a lull like physically because of your schedules, and how do you guys come back together and like make time to physically connect and be present with each other?
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Peacock Original, The Traitors. Keep your kilts on, Daddy Gang. The Traitors season finale is almost here. The Emmy-winning competition series is having a wild season on Peacock. The Traitors are at each other's throats thanks to some keen intel from our boy Dylan Efron, and the faithfuls are closing in. Meanwhile, TV's best dressed host, Alan Cumming, has kept his guests running with increasingly difficult missions. Will it be the traitors or the faithful who take the cash? You don't want to miss any of the new remaining episodes of The Traitors, streaming only on Peacock.
Have you guys ever gone through a lull like physically because of your schedules, and how do you guys come back together and like make time to physically connect and be present with each other?
I think we actually like just recently had that conversation. Like sometimes I'll be traveling and he'll be working, and I'll come back and he's in work mode, you know? And that was one of the things that we learned through couples therapy is like when say he leaves and comes back, or I leave and come back, like making those moments and times to like reconnect whenever we come back together is so important. Because like I could come back from like a 2-week trip, and then he's like in his schedule, like focused, you know, like he works out at a certain time. He wakes up at a certain time. He goes to the arena, all that stuff. He's like locked and loaded. And then it's like, hey, I'm back, you know, like, but making that important, you know, when he comes back home, it's like super important. Like I want the house to be nice and clean. I want to like that movie that we talked about last week, like have it lined up, you know, like all those things that just kind of bring that connection back together is so important.
It's so hard to like, every time someone asks me, I'm like, I would be lying if I said, and I think, again, this is why this conversation is so healthy to have, of like, I would be lying if I said that Matt and I, throughout our relationship, have not had to have multiple check-ins being like, we need
and you
to
always will.
We need to
as
reconnect.
well.
Always.
You always will.
But if you don't, and I think if anything, I would ask people that are in relationships to check in with yourself to be like, when is the last time you and your partner were like, hey, we need to either one, we need to make sure we have more quality time. We need to two, we need to make sure we're more physical, like we haven't connected, whatever it is for your personal relationship, resetting in moments, because we get so fucking busy and like
Absolutely.
we don't even have kids yet.
Yeah.
And we're
right?
both working. So I'm like, I don't know. So I just think it's normal to say. And again, I think because of social media, people are like, everything is perfect. And it's like, yeah, I love Matt, and we're married and he's the
Nothing
best
is
husband ever.
perfect.
But like, we got to make sure that we're on the same
Except
page.
for our engagements.
Yeah.
Those were
perfect.
But nothing in life is perfect.
Okay, we're going to play a game. I'm going to list some scenarios and you're going to tell me if it's a turn off or a turn on. He's heavy on the PDA.
If he knows how to kiss, turn on.
Okay. He makes a special playlist for sex.
Absolute turn on. Love that.
Love. He gives you a hickey.
Where?
I was about to say, depends where. I don't need no shit on my neck, but like,
right.
you know.
Right.
Okay, he waits for you to initiate sex.
It depends. Like, you know, we could take turns.
I agree.
We could take turns.
I think if it's like he's always waiting, it's like the same thing where it's like you need to reciprocate. But I think it's in moments it's
balance.
hot if yeah. He sends you nudes while you're at work.
At work is a bit much, but like late at night, cute. I need to lock in.
I agree.
I need to lock in.
I agree. He wants to have phone sex.
Hey, but she want daddy.
Okay, wait, phone sex or FaceTime sex?
But she want daddy. Call her daddy.
I fucking love you. I'm dead. Okay, he doesn't manscape. Oh, you're like down. I love this.
Or.
Okay, he's very vocal during sex.
Love.
I don't need a mute ass bitch. Like,
love.
pipe it up.
Pipe it up. Yeah, love.
Okay, he loves sex with the lights on.
I mean, it's not what I prefer, but
I
hey.
like a vibe. Like, I am not trying to fuck when it's like this light. Well, actually, I guess this lighting would be like hot.
This
you're
is
like,
cute, but
there's
like
cameras and everything. You're like,
but
oh,
like candles or like.
yes. Like, I don't want it to be pitch black where you're like, you can't see me and I can't see you, because that's what.
Sometimes that's fun too, though, because like.
Oh, I agree.
I feel like your other senses are like more heightened.
That is such a good point, because I never do that. But I forget what Matt and I were doing, but there was a reason it was pitch black and we're like, it's kind of hot.
Yeah.
But I don't want that every time.
Right.
And again, if it's bright.
Again, balance.
Like natural daylight, kind of hot, but it's like, yeah. Okay, balance. He lasts for an hour before he comes.
I feel like every experience is different. So
I think an hour for me, I'd be like, babe, come on.
Every experience is different.
When he's like, actually, I'm down for 4 hours and count me the fuck in.
Every experience is different.
He wants to watch porn together.
Hot.
So hot.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Hot.
Okay, let's talk about your brand, K-Skin. Can you talk to me? Like, I know that you started it after getting a very bad sunburn on a job, but like, what has been the most rewarding part of starting your own brand?
The most rewarding thing for me about K-Skin is realizing that there was something in the market that was missing for me, and knowing that if it's missing for me, it has to be missing for a lot of people, and finding the fix for that problem and then seeing people enjoy it. That, like, for me, SPF has always been so important in my life. I have vitiligo, which means that I don't have melanin in certain areas of my skin. And so I don't even tan here. I just will burn. And so SPF has always been super, like, I've been religious with wearing sunscreen, but I hated wearing it. It was never a fun experience. Like, left a white cast on my white skin or my brown skin, was sticky, just didn't look good. And I remember that shoot that I burnt, I went without SPF because no one on set wanted me to put it on because it wasn't looking good on camera. And I was like, that shouldn't be a thing. Like, you shouldn't forego something that is like healthy, like for your safety, just because it doesn't look good. So I wanted to fix that problem and make SPF that you wanted to wear that looked good on all skin tones. Like, remember, when I rub something into my skin, it got to work on both skin tones. So like, got to work for white people, got to work for Black people. I need it to work on all skin tones, types, conditions.
I mean, I feel like that's when people feel like the best brands that people create are when you're actually filling something that like you personally need. Like, I feel like it's obvious when you see people in the market where it's like, that was just because someone told them to do it, rather than it's like, oh, this is something you're living and breathing and you needed, and you can feel that through your brand, which is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. What is your best skincare tip that you can share with the girlies watching?
I would say never skip your SPF.
Yep.
I think that's so important.
I need to get better. Like,
don't worry, I'm gonna stalk you up,
do
girl.
you put it
skipping
on?
your SPF?
No, I know. I just try not to go outside. But still. Okay, I saw someone recently post on TikTok, and they were like, "What fucking step are we putting it on if you're doing a full beat?"
Okay,
tell me.
Got you.
Tell me.
You're gonna do your skincare.
Okay.
And then you're going to do your primer.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do your SPF. SPF is the last step in your skincare routine before you do your makeup.
So we're doing primer and then.
Also, I don't use primer because I love the feel of my SPF, especially like depending on what finish I want. If I want like a dewy beat, I'm gonna go for I'll Glow because she get like, that's the islands in a bottle. She gives that good glowy skin.
That's what I like. Yeah.
Right. But if you're a matte girly and you want like that full beat, I would go for the mineral drops from K-Skin because that gives like a more natural skin-like feel and leaves that like the makeup's gonna grip, you know?
This is the information we needed, okay?
So yeah, all your skincare, whatever serums, all that. And usually you should actually use more of your serums at night. But I like to really like layer my products.
Same.
And then I will finish my skincare, let that sink in, do my SPF, let that sink in, and then
that's like the biggest step that's changed my life recently is like I used to be like boom, 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 boom. Then I'm like, what's happening? It's like I now like will do my first primary skincare and then I go and get my coffee.
Yep.
Then I come back.
It has to simmer in the spirit.
Right? It literally needs to like sink in.
Absolutely.
And then we needed you.
Don't worry, I got you, girl.
Yeah, this is good. You got rejected at one point from a job at Sephora and now K-Skin is literally sold there. What full circle did that mean to you when you found out that your product would be in Sephora?
It was actually so nuts to me because I'm such a skincare junkie. Like that was like a dream job at the time. Like I was like, wait, I'm gonna get a discount? Like, what you mean? Like, I really want that job. And I wanted to learn more about like skincare and makeup too at that time. So I really did want that job, but you know, I didn't get it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
To see it on the shelves then, and I'm such a fan of Sephora as well. Like,
it's Sephora.
The skincare junkie in me never left. Like,
what girl isn't like Sephora? Sephora.
Absolutely.
Love.
So
it's amazing.
That was a dream come true. And Sephora has been such an incredible partner to work with as well.
Last question. What do you wish more people knew about you?
I feel like I have such a green thumb. I'm so like fascinated with plants. I don't know if that's not really like something that I want people to know about me, but like it's an interesting like thing that I'm super obsessed with. And I'm like, I should talk about this more. Like,
you're like, I like plants.
Every time I like meet someone or like become friends with someone and I realize like they're like super obsessed with plants, it becomes a thing. Like I have plant apps, like I have to have I don't even water my plants like once a week. I water them based off of like I'll stick my finger in, I'll feel the soil, like I have my gauges.
Oh, you're in touch.
I'm in it. Like I love plants. I talk to my plants, name my plants. I love plants.
Period.
I had plants growing up and my grandmother had an incredible garden and she used to grow so much of the food that we would eat from like tomatoes to zucchini to pumpkin, like everything. And I feel like my grandmother really gave me a green thumb. So I'm kind of obsessed.
I just have to say thank you so much for coming on. That was so fun to sit down with you
Thank you.
again, like every time.
This was so much fun.
It was, because I feel like we may meet at some point, like at like a party in LA or whatever, but to get to sit down, we have so much in common, and especially like our recent lives. And it was so incredible to sit down with you and get to know you more today. And I'm happy that my audience is going to get to know you more too.
Thank you.
And
me too.
Congratulations again. I like keep being like, look at her eyes, but I'm like, oh my God, that rock is so fucking
Thank you.
gorgeous.
No, I really appreciate it. It's like a big chapter in our lives. And I feel like getting all the like blessings and the congratulations and everything, it does mean so much to me, because like it's a beautiful, like I know you know exactly what I'm saying. Like it's a beautiful, beautiful moment, and
It's amazing.
I'm over the moon.
Love. We did it. Thank you.
We did it!
Thank you.